These Einsteins had stopped at Home Depot, bought like 4 bags of lump charcoal, put them in the cookers we had just got through using, and set the trailer on fire. So we get to this winery vineyard in Napa, and these guys are like scooping ice out of a cooler and throwing it up under between the whole hog boxes and the trailer deck. I mean, you don't even have to be like any type of scientist or, atom splitting thought process to not put lump charcoal in a hot grill. I said, how in the world does a person get that sick with no symptoms? He said, if we were to operate on you right now in your condition, you got about a 25% chance of survival.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Smokeless. I'm Nick from Stanley's Famous Pit Barbecue in Tyler, Texas, joined, as always, with the two superheroes in barbecue, Wayne Mueller, Louie Miller Barbecue, and Taylor and Justin Fourton at Pecan Lodge in Dallas. Guys, is today the day when we finally get Sam Jones?
Could be.
Or will the sixth time be the charm?
While we're waiting, why don't you show us your drum skills? You're a drummer, right?
No, I don't drum. These belong to somebody else.
He said, "You're the queen."
That's right.
King, if you know what I mean, and let's do the wild thing.
Wild thing.
Oh, shit. Fucking real. We've got video.
Please, Jesus, leave there be audio.
Do we have
Is
audio?
Is this security camera footage?
Well, I can change the background if I need.
Oh, shit, we do have audio.
God damn.
Okay, I got to pee.
Has this one been prayed over? This one went to the prayer meeting recently.
Demons have been exorcised.
Sam, it's good to see your smiling face. How you been?
Good.
Yeah, I'm sure you're busy fighting alligators, doing all the shit.
Yeah, finally relatively healthy.
Oh, what's been going on?
I had a little scare last year, man. Didn't realize I had kidney stones. And when I say fortunately, they caused me some pain because I kind of bit on a stick for about a day. And finally, when it got, where I couldn't stand it, I just went to my doctor because, the ED at our hospital was ridiculous. And so I went to my doctor, unannounced, with, just sucking my thumb. And they got me in the back. I didn't get to see my physician, but anyway, long and the short of it, after about 3 hours of being there, they said that they were calling an ambulance because I had some sort of an infection. And so I go to the hospital, went through the ED, that whole shooting match. Once I was admitted, they carried me for a scan of some sort, and off to the operating room we went. And when I woke up from that, there was 2 surgeons standing there that essentially said, "Mr. Jones, you have an awful problem, and we can't operate on you." And, I was thinking of this whole thing as, it's like taking your car to the garage. I'm going to go in, get my repairs done, and I'm back out on the road. And he said, if we were to operate on you right now in your condition, you got about a 25% chance of survival. And I was not prepared for that. And basically, I had a pile of kidney stones that had gotten infected. And I had sepsis. I got a staph infection. I got my bloodstream. And after a few days of, he said, we're going to culture your blood, every so many hours to make sure we're on pace with the infections. And about 2 days later, I basically, for all practical purposes, coded out, like went into septic shock, the whole 9, and was in the hospital for around 3 weeks while they were just getting me, where they could do something about the kidney stones. And so that, like I said, that was about 3 weeks. I came home, had a pick line in for 3 weeks. And matter of fact, the top shift thing that I did, that was why I was wearing a long sleeve shirt. I'd been out of the hospital a week, and I still had a pick line in where I hooked up the antibiotics twice a day.
Oh, dude.
But it caused me some liver damage, which fortunately now other than what damage is done, I'll go back and I think it's September for a procedure, more of looking at things. And if everything looks fine on that front, I'll only have to see the liver people. And that's UNC Chapel Hill. I'll only have to go there every 6 months. And so,
Holy shit.
yeah, only, like when I say the only main big downside of it is, and I didn't know anything about this kind of mess, but my platelet levels will forever be low now. And so if I happen to have any type of major surgery, more than likely I'll have to have a transfusion, blood or a higher platelet count.
Damn.
The condition I was in versus now, nothing was working right. Yeah, within like 3 days, I put on probably 25 or 30 pounds of just fluid.
Yeah.
Where nothing was working like it was supposed to, and couldn't walk. Somebody would have to help me just stand up on the bedside in the hospital.
Holy shit, dude.
And so, some people knew about it, and then some people didn't. And the folks that didn't, they was like, "Man, why didn't you tell me?" And I said, "Well, what am I gonna like? Oh yeah, I didn't call. Let me call Wayne and let him know that I'm in the hospital real bad." Like, what kind of conversation is that? Like, hey, old pal, I hadn't talked to you in a while. I'm about to cross the River Jordan here.
Yeah. The ferryman's got his hand out right now.
Yeah. And
he's
so
looking for his coin.
I've had a bunch of doctor's appointments and spent another weekend there in January with kidney stones in the other kidneys. Just because of that platelet count situation, everything has to be, they were pretty tedious about how they were going to go about it. And so, but since then, doctor's appointments, but I told somebody recently, I said, I'd much rather go to the doctor than be in a place where the doctor comes to you.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure, man. So how you feeling now?
Good. I do about what I want to do. There's absolutely, I'm going to change the lifestyle as far as some of the things you eat and you drink and all that has to, make a drastic change. Just to, like I said, the damage is still just done. Ain't nothing be done about that. But, it's not like I'm in any type of failure situation or anything such as that. My numbers look good. It's just a matter of, don't do anything to cause further problems.
Right. Yeah.
Holy fuck, man.
So,
oh my God. And you had no clue before that? Other than just some discomfort?
Yeah. And I asked one of the physicians, because it seemed like a doctor of every specialty. And, once what I felt like was on the upswing of things, I said, how in the world does a person get that sick with no symptoms? I won't run a fever. I didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the kidney stones moved and caused me pain, because if not, I guess I'd just died at the house of infection,
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so, there again, that ain't me complaining by any means. All that is a blessing in disguise.
For sure.
But, I do pretty much what I want to. And, I wasn't running any 5Ks or nothing to start with. So I didn't pick up any bad habits.
So when you say you got to go see the liver people, are they going to have to do dialysis and stuff?
No, that would
be for your kidneys.
That would be kidneys. No, my kidney functions are back. They came right back to normal once the infection was handled. But as far as the liver damage, my primary physician wanted me to go ahead and be under the care of UNC, I guess, for long term. My mother's side of the family has liver issues, and I wasn't even fully aware of that. But, based on that level of care there, I guess if, very, very worst case scenario, if I was have to be a candidate for a transplant, I'm already under the care of, a place to stop shop.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Dude.
Yeah, sepsis is no joke.
Or as old Pat Martin said in a text message, he said, Sam had, I'm trying to think how he said it because I literally was in my truck and I just busted out laughing by myself. He said he had enough, he had enough kidney stones to shoot a quail like, like a bird shot.
Country boy will survive.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Pat lately?
He texted me this week, matter of fact.
Yeah.
Affectionately saying, I miss your ass. Because, we might go 2 to 3 weeks sometimes and not, sometimes maybe a month I don't hear from him. And then, he might lob a late night random country song at me or something. But we chatted on the phone, I guess it's been about a month or so ago.
Yeah, he passed through. It was probably been about 3 months ago or so. I guess he had his director of operations with him. They were doing something in Austin, and he was just passing through, literally stopped at the restaurant for about 30 minutes and then was on his way. It was
Yeah, he ain't gonna sit anywhere long.
No. He was in and out on the road. Like, all right. Always great to see you, Pat, even if it's fleeting.
Yeah.
For sure. You been traveling much at all before this?
No. COVID helped me get off that hamster wheel.
Man, didn't it?
And,
me too.
And I say that as a good thing too, because you're talking for a decade, literally the first event I ever did that I cooked away from home was in 2010. I had been a guest at Big Apple Barbecue once or twice before that, and that event in 2010 turned into the Fatback Collective, which turned into, I always liken it to one door and opened another door that opened another. And, here I am talking to y'all. But at the time, I could not, because after my grandfather passed, if our property hadn't been paid for at Skylight, you've heard me talk about it, Wayne, we went out of business.
Yeah.
And not because we were doing anything different. I didn't come from a family that empowered you. Their ceiling was your ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And through traveling and meeting people that are smarter than you are and realizing that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, use them in that same formula and, and establish a name. But, I was it was hard to sever that line between traveling, doing these events, success of the restaurant.
Mm.
And, in 2019, my book published and I traveled 128 days that year.
Oh, Jesus, man.
But it had been, the 2 or 3 years prior to that had been over 100 days a year.
Yeah.
And, that became the norm, and it's terrible. Now it makes me all cry in a heartbeat because my oldest daughter, it's like I watched her grow up on FaceTime.
Yeah.
And, which everything comes at a cost, make no mistake.
Mm.
But then after, and 20 was shaped up to be the same way. And then, it was like we did South Beach and Charleston, and then, everything folded up like an umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So when it opened back up, I was like, okay, well, the good Lord bless us that we didn't have to shutter, during COVID. And it, anybody knows me knows there's not an arrogant bone in my body. But, I kind of told the powers to be that take care of that kind of stuff for us. I was like, here are the new parameters. I said, I either need a emotional return or financial return.
Right. 100%.
And, there was a younger lady on the call that she wasn't smelling what I was stepping in exactly. And so I, gave an example. I said, you take, like Southern Smoke out in Houston that Chris Shepard does. I said, I remember doing that event and then leaving getting to my next event and reading an email that went out to everybody where literally the day we left, he delivered a check for like $100,000 to this guy that was not going to get the care he needed, that had been in a motorcycle accident, that ran this little pizza and chicken wing joint. I said, that felt good. I mean, I sat there by myself in the hotel room and cried as I read the email, because it was like you could draw a line of something you did that
Yeah.
made direct impact for the positive. I said things like that, Southern Soul, that does firebox down in St. Simon. I said that kind of stuff, if it costs me money, I'll go do it. I'll go help. I said, but these other events that are like snake charmers, it's like, hey, look at this hand. I'll pinch you on the back of the neck with this one. Where you got to argue to break even.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you can even break even.
Right. I said, and that's not even counting your time.
Right.
No.
I said, there's a lot of things I enjoy doing that I can break even on without leaving home. So either I need to check or I need to know that I'm doing something for the positive, and that the money that's getting raised is actually getting to its final destination, or not getting, skimmed 3 times before it gets there. Some of the invites still come and some don't. And they're again not arrogant at all, because the thing I miss is seeing people like yourself that I got to be friends with.
Yeah.
And make no mistake, we'll be friends as long as I live, far as I'm concerned. But it sucks that I don't get to see you because of geography.
Right. But, I think, when was the last time we saw each other? Maybe Paul's Up?
Probably.
Montana?
21.
Yeah, something like that. But, the first time we met in Murfreesboro,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was sort of
picture the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yep, me, you, and Pat, and Adam Perry Lane.
Yep, and Adam Perry Lane.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed those. It was really my introduction to all the Southern players and shakers. You guys were a completely different breed than what I was used to, and it was quite an eye-opening experience to be there and to meet everyone, and all of you guys knew each other. I felt like completely the greenhorn, the fish out of water.
Was there,
but not for long. And then learning your story and the parallels to my own, it was just like, oh man, this is a kindred spirit right here.
Yeah, Vic and Nick, I used to say that Wayne and I were both gifted with the gift of gab, and we could toss a coin on a food panel and figure out who was going to preach, who was going to take up the offering.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So true, man. And, as cold and as crazy it was, those were really good times. And then, just then after that, it was how many places around the country were you going to run into each other?
Well, that's what events. It seems like, we were all kind of blazing the same trails at events. And so it was like having a church homecoming in a different town,
right?
Every other month or something like that.
Yeah.
The same people. It's like you're going to dinner with the same folks in a different zip code.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in its own way, that was very exhilarating, more so than the events themselves. And
that was just an excuse.
It certainly was. It was the conduit by which we could get together. And I enjoyed that so much. It was so much fun. I'd never realized or even imagined that barbecue would have would be this gateway to this sort of life and lifestyle and introduction to so many different people. And it really changed me in, I think, many ways. And it created friendships I never knew could be possible.
And
I'm blessed.
And as Pat and I said one time, we may have met because of barbecue, but our friendship supersedes our profession now.
Yeah.
If you and I got out of the barbecue business tomorrow, Wayne and Sam are still going to be friends.
Yeah, for sure.
I've said so many times, if I had to walk away from it, what would be my net would be a relationship.
Yeah.
Aside from whatever notoriety, so to speak, you might want to say, or money made, those relationships are, just worth their weight in gold bullion in comparison to something monetary or tangible.
Yeah. So how is business? How is Skylight? How is Sam Jones? How's business?
Everything's trucking along, man. I really
Yeah.
can't, there's no, you, with anything, you can complain about something, but, um, especially since last year, it'll make you look at how much water you got in the glass rather than looking at the top of what ain't in it. And,
Yeah.
so, every day that you make a profit and everybody gets paid and you can pay your bills, it's a good day.
It is a good day.
And, to see, Saturday, for instance, I was leaving across the street. My grandparents' old home I bought years ago, and just right across the street from Skylight. And I was pulling out a driveway there, and, the line was probably about 8 or 9, 10 people deep out the door. And, I never take that for granted because I've seen the time that I was standing at that counter, you know, listening to the crickets like rub their feet together. And so, that's always a welcome sight.
For sure. Traffic, COVID changed our traffic tremendously. Not just mine and what I do and how do I leave? Do I stay? Where do I focus my attention? And it really changed everything about my perspective of how to manage a business, how to manage my life, how to manage my schedule. Everything turned inwards for me. And I didn't travel near as much as you did, but it was wearing me out. I mean, I really got to the point where it was just like, Jesus, I said yes to another 6 things that I really don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to do primarily because there'll be people there that I want to go see, not necessarily because I want to be at the event.
Well, when you're the person that's not doing it, like the people at home, for instance, they think you're living this like glamorous lifestyle, and just traveling in itself is a job.
Mm.
That mess of, if you remember the same time we did like Windy City Smokeout, Sweden, Hawaii,
Yeah.
that was all the same month.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Holy shit.
I was
Oh,
home.
yeah.
I think I was home with total the month of July that year for like 3 days.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah. And was going from Hawaii, which is 6 hours ahead, to 2 weeks later, you're in Sweden 6 hours behind.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm mixed up now thinking about it.
and then you almost get stuck in Sweden, in Copenhagen.
Yeah, that's another thing. The things that happen while on the road, so to speak, cannot be made up. Man, I could sit here. We could have several parts of storytelling from the road of things that, if you sit down and go, man, I'm going to script like this crazy barbecue traveling circus situation, you still you wouldn't scratch the surface good.
Pat peeing over the taxi cab.
I remember being on the West Coast one time, and Jim and Nick at the time had sent these 2 guys to Ada, North Carolina to pick up our big rig, to pull it to Birmingham and then pull it to the West Coast. And we were going to do this market thing for a friend of ours, Caleb Zigas, in San Fran. And then we were doing the SFA thing in Napa. Well, when that rig leaves, you can use the cookers themselves to put things in because it's clean, keeps it out of the weather. Well, we'd cooked 3 hogs, like me, Rodney, and Nick had done like, 3 different styles to offer at this thing in San Fran. Then it was going to Napa. And somebody told these 2 Einsteins that was pulling this thing that they needed to stop at Home Depot, get some lump charcoal. And At the time, I didn't have the trailer unit I have now. And so the trailer that all them things were bolted to was a wood deck trailer. And I get a call from the guy that was like company chef, corporate chef, whatever you want to call him, with Jim and Nick, Drew Robinson. And he was that guy that it took him a second to get it out. He was Wayne. We had a little issue, and you're like, and so Drew calls me and he's like, Sam, especially if you were talking to him in person, he would do this finger thing that was kind of funny. And I could see him standing talking about this issue. These Einsteins had stopped at Home Depot, bought like 4 bags of lump charcoal, put them in the cookers we had just got through using, and set the trailer on fire. So we get to this winery vineyard in Napa, and it's dark as a cavern out there. And these guys are like scooping ice out of a cooler and throwing it up under between the whole hog boxes and the trailer deck, trying to put it out. And I'm thinking, I mean, you don't even have to be like any type of scientist or, atom splitting thought process to not put lump charcoal in a hot grill. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Barbecue is, I think the basis of barbecue is not so much fire as it is stories and storytelling after the fact, because they go hand in hand. Every outing is an adventure.
Well, I mean, some of it wasn't funny when it happened. Funny after
No, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's rarely ever funny when it happens. But when it happens enough, if you don't see the humor in it, you're just going to drop dead anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't laugh at yourself.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That shit's just so funny. Yeah, I was showing these guys pictures of Willie. I had a picture of Willie at Shep Gordon's house. Remember Shep in Maui?
Do I remember? I remember looking at Wayne. This is no joke. One, I didn't know who this man was until the night before. And one thing I could say in travel is when you meet somebody, that's really, popular, influential, or famous, or celebrity, it's even better when they're actually good people.
Yeah.
It's no fun meeting somebody that's super popular or whatever, and then they're like a douchebag when you finally meet them. You're like, God, they got some guts. So we had dinner with him the night before, and I literally like Googled him when we were in the bathroom because I was like, who's the guy they're talking about? They act like he's the Messiah or something. And so I just wanted to educate myself a bit. Well, then, he was just like us. He's wearing like flip-flops, a t-shirt. We ate, took forever to get our food. We ended up eating pizza instead. And then the next day it was like, hey, he wants you to come to his house and cook. And I remember going to the restroom in his house that first year, and I'm seeing like, a gold record on the wall from Frank Sinatra giving me.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, his house is like a time capsule of anybody who's anybody. He's had some type of hand in their success. And just a peach of a man, a gentleman. And we cook. He breaks out a 1948 bottle of cognac he had bought, like in London, whenever. At the same time, he had told us that afternoon that somebody he had invited to dinner because they have deer season year-round in Hawaii because they're pissed. And brought us to the deer that was pregnant, and that this couple was going to be bringing the baby deer, was like 2-3 days old. And so I made a statement. I was like, well, my daughter's hair is just going to catch on fire, Well, so we're standing out on the lawn when he breaks out this bottle of cognac. And I just looked at Wayne and Billy and them, because we're standing barefooted in this tall fescue, like right on the beach, And I said, are we like in a fairy tale or something?
Right.
I was like, we're at home, like, this like super famous guy. He just broke out, this crazy, ridiculous bottle. And it's like a 4-day-old baby deer just sitting in the grass over there in the bathroom. I mean, like, where are we at? Am I lying, Wayne? The deer had a diaper on. That's like we're in a movie or something.
Well, guys, that's it for part 1 of Take 5 with Sam Jones. Join us next week for another little snippet. Don't forget, hit us up on Instagram, smokeless_podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere where podcasts are. Give us a like, subscribe, share it with a friend. That means more than you'll ever know. If you like what we're doing, tell a buddy. Tell them to check it out. You can find us on Goldbelly. Hit this promo code up on goldbelly.com and get a big discount off your first order. We'll give you $20 off. And if you're looking for a little something extra special, maybe help you have some fun, maybe feel better at night, get some sleep, maybe your feet hurt, you want some relief, whichever one, SF, I don't know. Go to drinkwillies.com, put in promo code smokeless for 10% off your first order. It is the elixir by Willie Nelson, the man himself, who definitely has had the time to figure it out. You'll check it out. Good stuff. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.